depending on which branch you're talking about, like approximately 100 years, but some sides have been here for longer. My mom's side has been here since the mid 1800s. They arrived before the Civil War and they settled in the South, and they were Confederates during the Civil War, but they were very, very poor.
So both my parents have been here since birth, and it goes back a couple generations to, I think, about my great-grandmother who came from Spain.
Well, my dad's from Argentina, and he came here when he was about 21, and he's about 51 now, so he's been in the U.S., if you can do the math, for 30 years. My mom was born in New Massachusetts, and her family has been here for some amount of time. They didn't come here through Ellis Island or anything like that. If you go way back, they're like from Lithuania.
My parents, they divorced, and my mom actually moved to the U.S., to Boston actually, 7 years ago, and she really wanted like her children, so me and my brother, to come to the U.S. So she's been advocating it, and only until 3 years ago she was able to convince my dad to let go of me.
My father's family came around like the early 1900s. His mom came from Russia to Canada and then to the United States. And my dad's dad came from Russia to Ellis Island.
So my dad came to the United States with the hopes of going to MIT, and his dad and mom were in Argentina. He's an only child, and he came here and went to UMass Boston, and he graduated in 3 years. He holds it over my head. And then he went to MIT to get his PhD in chemistry. And so that's how he got here, by plane, okay? And my mom was born here, so, you know, that's how she got here.
We've been trying for the last 5 years to get a visa, but my mom turned into a resident, and then I therefore could come here, and then now I turned to a U.S. citizen a year ago. So yeah.
I feel rather connected to my Jewish heritage by being at Brandeis, if that makes sense, even though I wasn't really raised particularly religious. Most of my extended family is rather observant, but my dad just chose not to raise me and my sisters and my brother with a very religious upbringing. So there was a bit of disconnect as a child when I would like go to my cousin's bat mitzvah and like not know any Hebrew, things like that. But I do feel connected to my ancestry through the stories I've heard.
My mom doesn't really know about her side since she was adopted, and she's never really looked into her ancestry, but my father has a bit of Polish, Italian, Spanish, and I think a little French in him. I don't really feel connected to my ancestry. I appreciate it, but like it goes no deeper than that. I guess my great-grandmother, who was from Spain, I guess I'm most connected to her because I speak Spanish and I'm interested in it, but other than that, not really.
Okay, so in terms of ancestry, I really associate myself with the Jewish people in general. Both my parents grew up Reform, but we're not Reform Jews. We're more on the Orthodox side. And we did this family history project all about genealogy in like 6th grade, and it was fantastic because we had to go through the genealogy of our mother's sides and our father's sides up to like 3 generations back. So we learned a lot about our unique families and where they were in like position of the world. So for example, my last name Molman is a German last name, but none of us are German. In fact, it goes all the way back to like Ukraine, and they're like, oh my God, your family's Jewish, but like we don't want them to be in the pogroms or whatever. So they're like, we'll give you our last name. So we have a German last name, but we're not German. And the interesting thing is that the last name with the umlaut and everything is completely how it was when they came over on my dad's side to Argentina. But in terms of ancestry, I will repeat, I feel very connected.
I don't really usually think of this, but I just feel like when I come to the U.S., my Asian identity is more, it's more emphasized just because like America's such a diverse place, and it's weird. When I'm in Asia, I feel more American, and when I'm in the U.S., I feel more Asian. So I don't know how to explain other than like, the setting like depending on where you are, like I feel I identify differently. Yeah, but ancestors, I don't know.